Welcome to all of you out there, astrology friends. This is another video of the new moon in Pisces, and the new moon in Pisces is going to happen around and about the 10th of March of 2024. So this video is about explaining what this energy is all about, what is the flavor of it, and then very quickly looking at the 12 signs where this energy is going to happen, in what kind of area of your life you're going to feel this. Now, this new moon in Pisces is a very easy one to explain, as it is a bit of a double whammy of the energy of Pisces. Why? Because first of all, Pisces is and this is going to happen around in about 20 degrees of Pisces. So the sun and the moon are going to be together at 20 degrees of Pisces. Saturn is also in Pisces, which is around 11 degrees, or is it? Yes, 11 degrees, and Neptune as well, very close to the new moon at 27 degrees. So you could say it's a very Neptunian kind of new moon. It's not a double whammy, it's a triple whammy of this energy. The energy of endings and new beginnings, the energy of letting go, the energy of dissolvement, the energy of unclarity, and you go through it and you let go of it and you get clarity because of you are doing that, because there is trust in the letting go, trust in the natural flow, you could say. That is a trait that is very common with Pisces, that is very common with Neptune, and that is very common with the new moons, because the new moons are endings and new beginnings. So it's planting of a new seed, you could say. So actually, astrologically, in a year, when you look at the astrology of a year, this one is also one that is associated with a lot of endings anyways, and with new starts, because it's Pisces, the last sign of the zodiac. So you could say it's like in the astrology, it's represented by the 12th house, which is the unconscious house, which is, you could say, the connection with source. It is like a very karmic energy. So a triple whammy of this letting go energy, you could say. And with Neptune in itself is already also teaching us, it's a planet of go with the flow, it's a planet of the nature of things. It's like with the, Neptune is represented, or you could say like it's with the sea, right? It has those waves and it takes, and but it also gives in a way. So it's a lot about these natural cycles. And it's not so much like Uranus, for instance. Uranus is cutting off as well, but in a very instant way, in a very, yes, this is happening all of a sudden, and it's a cutoff, for instance. Pluto is a bit more drastic, and it goes very deep and intense, and it can take a long term in a process of letting go. But with Neptune, it's dissolvement, and dissolvement means that the less you do, the easier that process is going to unfold. So it is really a message here, because we're going to have 4 planets in Pisces, so including the sun and the moon. So it's very much a message of not to say that you it's a Pisces new moon, I don't have to do anything, I'm sitting in my couch and let go and let God. No, it has to do with a certain aspect of your life where there is where you have no control over, and that it could be a very good thing to let nature do its work, so to speak. Collectively, in general, we're all going to have that energy there. Now, before this new moon, what else is going on in the sky that is important, I think? That is, yes, we do have stability still of the Jupiter and sextile to Saturn. So Jupiter is a planet of expansion, and it is the ruling planet of the old ruler of Pisces, you could say. And this Jupiter is in Taurus, sextiling Saturn in Pisces. So that means that there is a an equilibrium between expansion, novelty, newness, and between keeping things stay safe and secure and how it is. So there is a good balance there. So that's at the background operating. It's a sextile, it's nice. But the important thing that is happening during this new moon, or just the day before, 2 days before, is Mars square Uranus, which is a very unsettling energy. Mars square Uranus is all about Mars is doing, and Uranus is freeing up and breaking free and doing things independently. So the story that we're getting here is that a couple of days before this new moon, we are all going to be wanting to break free in a way and do actions accordingly. And of course, look at the other astrology that I did for February and March, and you will have the bigger picture. But this shows that we are very prone to, when we are fed up with something, to cut it off by an action, by saying, this is enough, I'm quitting. You know, for instance, a job that you've been not wanting to do for years and years, and you know, one extra thing happens that is negative for you in your eyes, and you're gone. You did the thing. So for better or for worse, what needs to be cut off will be cut off. And but it shows that a lot of people before this new moon will have cut off from something, and or at least did an action to free themselves up, to give themselves more independence, to give themselves more freedom, more honesty, and more realness. So, and then comes this new moon. This shows an energy of, okay, you cut off from something, or you start something to act very independently. And then the consequence is that there is a dissolvement and a letting go of a certain area of your life. So it's a bit that energy that I'm seeing. It's certainly not a bad energy at all. Nothing is good, nothing is bad. When it comes to energy, but it's how to deal with it and how to react and how to respond to those energies. So I'm going to individually per sign look at where this freeing up energy is occurring, and then the letting go of energy, the letting go energy. So it's a firm ending. No, it's not a firm all of a sudden ending. It's by our own independent actions, by our own desire for more independence, whatever it is. And it can be something small. You know, this is collective astrology. I mean, this is not, you know, if you really want to know what's going on, you go for an individual horoscope. And even then you can respond in a way that you want and that feels good for you, right? This astrology is not just dictating you, it's just energy. And again, it's like Tai Chi, right? We go against the energy, with the energy, whatever you want to do. It's up to you. And consciousness is and awareness is very important. And that is what I'm trying to do here. So let's have a look for all the signs. You see, it's very simple. I don't want to explain more than this, right? It is something that we're fed up with. And, you know, it's going to have those consequences of probably, don't forget that Neptune Pisces can give feelings of insecurity and feelings of, but it humbles, right? But it can give feelings of insecurity and of not knowing where you're heading. That's very Neptunian. But again, if you trust yourself, the universe, then you can let go of that and your path will come to you in a way. That's a bit, I know I talk in riddles, but you know, it's for a lot of people that I'm doing this reading. So anyways, let's get started very quickly. Aries, where is this happening? This freeing up, or this want for freeing up. This Mars is in your 11th house. So this freeing up has to do with either a friend, a group of people, your position in that, social networks, but also your goals for the future. So it could have been simply you starting an action a goal that you want to do, and then it's going to have that consequence of the letting go. And that letting go energy is in your 12th house. So it's already in the house. It's like a quadruple whammy for you, that you're letting go a lot of stuff, dear Aries people, that has to do with old patterns that are karmic, that are given by, from parent to children and so on. So you have an opportunity here by freeing yourself up from maybe a friend and saying, no, thank you very much. This is not my style anymore. This is because I have a negative pattern that I'm allowing this. And it's a very, Mars square Uranus is a very individual kind of energy, very masculine energy as well. And but it could also mean that you are going to do something with other people, and it's very freeing for you. But that is also demanding some sort of a stepping away from an old pattern that is no longer suiting you. A lot of healing energy for you, Aries people. It's good energy. I think you're really, really going to like it, because you're going to feel so much lighter after this new moon and this new beginning of, you could say, dealing better with the unconscious. Taurus people, what you want to free up, you could say, is the 10th house, which for a lot of you is work. So you want to do something more that is suiting you, that is more individual. Maybe you have some power struggles if you work for a boss that is really bossing you around or whatever. You're trying to liberate yourself. On another level, maybe you want to start up your own business. You want to do something that you love to do. It could involve others because it's Aquarius. So whatever it is, it has a knock-on effect on your 11th house, because there is where this new moon is. So it could mean that because of that, what is happening in the work area, you kind of let go of an old goal that was simply not suiting you anymore. Maybe you had a goal of doing this and that, but now it's not working anymore for you. And you let go of that. That could give like a bit of a healing energy almost. That if you don't work, the 10th house is also your connection with a parent. And it's also how you want to be seen in the world. What is your contribution to society on an energetic level? And you want to do something new here and something more to get out of a rut, because you are a very, you could say, a bit more, fed up with old stuff, you could say, or maybe with routines and so on. So that's a good thing. But know that some goals will have to fade away, you could say. Could also mean friendships, or a group of people that, or a social network or a social media that is no longer suiting you, that is outgrown. Not that there's something wrong with it, but there's like a fading away of it. And that could be unclarity according to friends or a friendship or a person. And now you're getting clarity. So this is the good news. Gemini, this freeing up energy is in your 9th house. So this is all about your mind. There is something in your mind happening with your perspective, and you want a new perspective, and you want to apply it directly. Mars is about application. It's about doing. So you could be traveling, you could be actively, you could be studying, you could be, or you you teach others. You don't study others, you teach others. So you could be doing that. Or you could be just actively work on your connection with the divine and feeling more free in a way. Now that's going to have a knock-on effect on your work. So there's something about your mindset that is shifting, that is more freeing you up. And because of that, there are things so a lot of you will let go of a job or a project that is no longer suiting you in a way. And some of Gemini's, if you're not working, for instance, could mean a connection with a parent, that there is some dissolvement there happening. We have the stages with our parents that we come towards stages in our lives, and that we change. And because of that, the relationship also changes. It's a natural thing. When you're 18 years old and you go out studying or you're going somewhere, that is a new stage, and the old stage is dissolving. That could be the case as well. But whatever it is, it's a new mindset that you are approaching. Cancerians, something is happening in the 8th house. So the 8th house, you want to free yourself up there. The 8th house is the house of intimacy. You want to have more access to the things of the 8th house that are very important, that are very deep. Connection with a person on a deep level. I've been talking about this in the monthly astrology as well for quite a while now, with the emphasis of Pluto coming into your 8th house as well. But it is about you freeing yourself up and wanting to be real in intimate relationship and in intimate connections. On another level, it's also money. So money that you share with another person, you want more independence there. Maybe you want to be free of debts. Maybe you are at a stage now where you're saying, okay, I'm going to conclude that. I'm going to shift that. So that's certainly not a bad thing happening, but it's where you want to gain more freedom and where you want to tackle a little bit more of your shadow and your demons, because the 8th house is the shadow and it's where we have fear. So whilst you are doing all that, it is a letting go of your 9th house. And the 9th house is your mindset. It's the words that you are thinking in your head. It's the inner critic. It's how you speak to yourself. And that there is something there that needs to let go of. That is no longer working for you. Maybe you have a negative thinking and maybe you are talking to yourself in a very undermining way. Maybe that is what you need to stop, because you are resolving something in that 8th house. You're wanting more truthfulness in that 8th house. And because of that, you need to let go of an old way of thinking. An old way of thinking of the 8th house is also the life and death energy. So because of things that are happening there in your life that has to do with life and death, it prompts you into a new way of thinking, into a new perspective. And that is a really healing kind of energy for you. You could also do a travel during this time, and it's going to be associated with some sort of an ending and a new beginning, but that is very much to the healing of your soul. So it's a soul's call, you could say. So listen to it. Leos, this is the trigger, you could say, or where you want to shift things, where you want to be more independent, where you want to, is about your relationships and your connection. So even if you are single or if you are in a relationship, it doesn't matter. There's an energy there that someone, Mars in the 7th house is encountering someone. Again, whether you are in a relationship or not. So either it is your partner or someone that is in your midst and playing an important role now. That person could demand for more liberty, for more independence. And whatever your situation is, it is important to listen to what they are saying, because Mars in the 7th house means that they will stand up for themselves. And for whatever the reason, I'm not saying that you have to let people walk all over you, no. But what I'm saying is try to cooperate with them. Try to understand where they are coming from. And it's not the time now to fight or for ego struggles and whatnot. It's time now to listen and to really let go of old ways of how you see yourself on a deep psychological level, because this new moon is in your 8th house, which is the house, it's a psychological house. So there's something dying there on an energetic level, on a psychological level, on a shadow level. So it could be a shadow of yours that is dying off, which is a good thing. It certainly has to do with endings and new beginnings, with the you could say a lot of transformative energy that you are going through. That could be very healing. But of course, it could be brought to you by another person, because Mars in the 7th house. So don't be shocked if someone is really speaking their truth or acting like a bit weird. It has been because this person has probably bottled up that energy, or you have bottled up that energy. And it is reflected in that way. But whatever it is, there's a transformation going on. There's a healing process going on that can help you to be less afraid of life. Virgos, this is happening in your house, in the 6th house. So there could be something in the 6th house that where you want to be more independent. First of all, work. So it could mean that if you're that kind of person that has been working hard to say goodbye to an old job that is soul wrecking, this could be the time that you're doing so. And because of that, there could be a letting go of the 7th house, which is another person. So it could mean literally a business partner or a person that is no longer suiting you. And of course, don't be alarmed by this. I mean, this is something that is already has been a little bit flu, right? So even if you are single, there could be a person where you felt a little bit that you did not know where you're standing, you know, the blurred lines with the Neptune there. It could be clear now. You clear where you're standing. And I think Virgos will like this, for better or for worse, because Virgos, they want clarity. And they don't want to be in the wishy-washy, or how do you call it? I don't know, what is our connection? Virgos don't like that. So, but you will have to go through this in a way that it has to do with that 6th house. It can also mean by doing a new routine that is a bit more freeing up in a way, that you feel more, you feel it could mean a workout that you're doing, but it's very much has to do with Uranus. So it could mean that you're going to do something that you've never done before, that is a bit alternative, that has to do with, in order for you to work on your health. Could be that as well. And that's already a very typical Virgo thing to do. Fixing problems as well. It could mean that you're going to fix a problem. It could also mean that you are going to tackle a problem. And because of that, you know, there's a shift in a relationship, right? There is like, so a lot of you will have endings and new beginnings in relationships, according what your status is, of course, of the relationship, of the status that you are in at the moment. Librans, this is the 5th house. So Mars in Aquarius in your 5th house, which is quite good energy for you because it trines your energy. But you want to liberate yourself and you want to do something that's very typical of you, that's very much fulfilling your needs for a change. You know, the Librans being known as people who are very much aware of what other people need. So now this is a lot about, it could be a love story, a new love story all of a sudden, you know, when you're single and Mars squaring Uranus in the 5th house, could be a new relationship starting here for sure. And because of that, there's changes going on in your 6th house. So there's a letting go of old routines, old habits, an old job could go as well. An old way of how you lifestyle, an old lifestyle as well. Maybe you get to know someone new, and it's very liberating, but it prompts you into a totally new lifestyle. Let's hope it's going to be better, right? And of course, that is something that you want, and but that can demand a little bit of an energy flow to be fluently letting go of, and that is very kind of opening up for you to even more explore the 5th house of your own expression and of your own uniqueness. It can also be in children, so that something happens with children, and because of that you need to let go of a certain routine, or you need to shift your scheme, you could say, during the day. Scorpios, this is happening in the 4th house. I mean, the trigger, the Mars energy is happening in your 4th house. So that could be something that you want to become more aware of when it comes to your home, literally, that you want to be more active at home as well, or working from home, or, you know, buying, selling homes, all of that stuff. There's something also on the emotional level that you are a little more, you could say, with a parent or with relatives, demanding your independence in a way. So that's not necessarily a bad thing at all, but The fifth house is the letting go house. So it could mean that you have to let go then of an old hobby, an old lover as well. It could mean also on a romantic level that you just let go of a person. And that is, it goes quite natural and it's quite healing as well. So it's not really, I would say in general, of course, a bad energy at all, because Scorpio is going well with Pisces energy. So there's a lot of flow there. But you're trying to be more independent on an emotional level. And that could have a knock-on effect of like saying, yeah, this person, this is no longer good for me or whatever it is, and you're separating. On another level, it could mean a new relationship coming in as well. Sagittarians, this Mars square Uranus is in the third house. So the third house is a social house. It's the house of siblings. It's the house of neighbors, people in the neighborhood. So with Mars square Uranus, there could be some fights going on there, or at least some ego struggles going on there. And either you are doing that or they are doing that to be more independent. So again, there's nothing wrong with it. But what it can do to you, let's say, for instance, if it's siblings, right? And there is something that you are not liking and you're standing up for yourself. Mars square Uranus, you had enough. You say how it is, or you act like it is, and they're not used to that. So you're shifting a huge pattern there. And because those patterns are from childhood, right? And this has a knock-on effect on your fourth house, which is your emotional stability, your emotional setup. And there's a lot of that energy of letting go. There is the new moon. So it could mean that because of you standing up for yourself, or they letting to know what they think of you. And there's a lot of clarity coming up. And because of that, you can heal from the childhood wounding. And you can heal from, which we all have in some part, right, in a way. And because of that, it's like a natural flow of, okay, that is that energy you can let go of. So it's connection with parents, connection with relatives. On another level, you could have certain communication that was very truthful. And because of that, the fourth house can also mean your home, that you are going to change homes, for instance. You leave the old home and you go to a new home. Now, it's a very healing energy towards your safety, right? There's something that was very safe for you in the past, or that has served you, but now it's like a letting go of an old, the fourth house, when something so significant as this is happening, it's like you're changing from the root, right? And it takes, that doesn't happen in a 1, 2, 3, I want to say here. So there's a lot of luggage that was unnecessary that you are letting go of, which is fantastic. Capricorns, the second house. So there is like Mars there, you wanting to hustle for the money, you wanting to get more confidence, you wanting to get more money, you wanting to get more financial independence. And because you are trying to do that, there could be a letting go of the third house. And the third house could mean people, it could mean neighbors, siblings, or a letting go of a pattern, of a connection, a relationship pattern that you're having with these people. Could be like that. Or it could also mean that a letting go of an old way of thinking. So a letting go of a communication style that was no longer suiting you. It can also mean a very healing energy around that words heal in some sort of way, or you being poetic. I know that is not a trait that people say that Capricorns have, but you happen to have this Neptune there in your third house with this new moon very close to it. So you could forgive more easily as well. And because you're working on confidence, self-confidence, and self-confidence comes from the self. You forgive yourself for the past, and you take each day as it comes, and you act your best. And so the healing capacity is definitely in your day-to-day mind, how you think on a day-to-day basis, how you communicate on a day-to-day basis. Aquarians, this is all about you because you want to free yourself up, period. You have Mars in your sign, and so it is, and certainly now with squaring up to Uranus, there's certainly a pathway that, or an action that you did or that you can do to free yourself up more. Whatever it is, whether it is you cutting yourself off of a toxic relationship, you cutting yourself up of an old way, an old way of working, or whatever it is. With Mars in your house, you are more confident, you have more energy, and you are very, restless with this square to Uranus. It's a lot about energy. I had enough. I cope with it way too long. Now I want to cut this off, and that's gonna have a consequence on your second house, which is the house of your assets, your belongings, but also your confidence and your money. So it's like it could mean that you are deciding an important decision for yourself, for your life path, and because of that, you're going to sell all your belongings, or you're going to give it away, or it's a lot about your assets that is ready for a renewal. The same for your confidence, right? There is like this old pattern that or this insecurities. It could mean that a lot of insecurities fall off because you are active, because you are sitting in the driver's seat. I'm not saying that you didn't before, but with Mars in your sign, it's even more of that. So you're taking responsibility. You're a bit more fearless, you could say. And because of that, the consequences will be that it could also be on a financial level that you want a renewal, and that you're going to take action because of that. Pisceans, this is a quadruple kind of energy as well. Why? Because you are a Piscean, of course, and the activator is actually in your house, in the 12th house. Mars is there, which is restless energy, which is in a good way. There could be like you doing something for people who are really in need, people who are really having a hard time, people or a friend or a person or whatever, that you're doing something for them. And because of that, it's like your old identity is dissolving. It's like you feel lighter because of that. I hope that makes sense, but it's not about what I'm saying here, doing things for people and just sacrifice. That's the unhealthy way, right? So with Mars in your 12th house, be aware of the unconscious. Be aware of that we are driven for a lot of percentages. It seems, if you believe science, that a lot of percentage that we are driven by emotions and unconscious that we don't even know of. So there's something here that you want to tackle. And there's something here that you're battling with Mars in the 12th house. It could be battling an addiction, battling old habits that are no longer good for you. That's, of course, the positive way. Now, be aware that the negative way is you undermining yourself. So make sure that you're not doing that. And then with all this Piscean energy in your sign, that you're all like, oh, I'm like the victim. And it's only the people who are very unaware of themselves that could have this energy, like they feel like, oh, nothing is happening, or they are no good. It's like undermining yourself. So be aware that that's just a trick. But with this Mars here in the 12th house, using it in a good way, it's tackling those old patterns, those unconscious patterns. It's tackling them by, first of all, being aware of them. So you could have some restless dreams for sure, but also dreams where you want to get independent, you want to get your independence back, and that demands an old, it's like you really, I'm seeing like a snake now that has this, or another reptile that has like the new skin. You're shedding off that skin. It's really like that. And it gives you that vulnerability, of course. It's a new skin and it's all a bit pinky or whatever. And but it's fresh. And so yes, it's a very healing, it could be a very healing time for you if you let that happen, and if you're loving towards self and not undermining the self, basically. So a lot of newness is coming up for you because this is your new moon. And especially if you've got planets around 20 degrees of Pisces, you're going to feel it the most. And so this is really a reboot, you could say. And that's a good thing. So do something that you really, really like during this time, or have some very sacred alone time almost, you know, you doing you and you coming back to yourself and letting go of some old pattern, whether it is an old habit, an old pattern, whatever it is. You've got a lot of that healing energy for yourself here. And of course, that's going to shift your connections with others because they are about to change, because you have changed from within. Having said that, thank you so much for watching. Keep on spreading this video, liking it, subscribing it, commenting it. I read all those comments. And thanks again for watching. All the best. Bye-bye.